I just already had to. So I just at that point. Bring your own chair then.
Good, how are you doing?
Moved by Monica, second by Julie. Any questions? No? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Recognition. Golden apple.
We have a golden apple celebrate. Mike's here. Do you want to stand up, Mike? Appreciate it. Stay standing for a moment, Mike? I appreciate it. So I discovered today that the golden apple in Mike's room is actually out of candy, so I need to get it filled back up for the students and such. But I'm going to read a portion of what was written about Mike and to celebrate him as being the recipient of the Golden Apple Award. As a teacher, Mike is dedicated to his students, always there for them, helping them to learn and grow. He genuinely cares about his students' success. His enthusiasm for teaching is evident by his words and his actions. He spends countless hours inside and outside the classroom. Mike consistently goes above and beyond to inspire and empower his students, all the while he is a daily inspiration to all of us. Thank you for your continued dedication to teaching and to the positive impact you have on students, staff, and the community of PEM. Congratulations, Mike.
Very good. The next action item is public comment, and we have people sign up for this, so I'm just going to call people up as they go. Although I can't read the first name on the list. Where is it? Rose? Thank you. Yes, that's it. I would like to make a couple of comments before we get started about public comment. This is an opportunity, you can stay up here, it's just an opportunity for you to comment to the board. Comments are not intended to be made to the public or to anybody else in the audience. They are directed at the board. It's an opportunity for you to share your thoughts. It's not an interactive opportunity. There are some important things, no disruptive, attacking, demeaning, inappropriate, redundant comments, no threatening, no allegations, and it's not for personal attacks or insults. We truly want to hear your opinion. We can't act on items that come to public comment based on our policy, but we certainly are here to listen to your thoughts. So, Rose, with that.
Rose Tinsley, retired PEM teacher. It is a privilege for me to be here tonight to speak in support of PEM teachers and coaches. Clearly, this is the most dysfunctional school board that I have seen in the 22+ years that I taught here. Being on the school board is not about having a bone to pick with a teacher or teachers or coaches. It's not about wearing a feather in your hat because you are elected. And it's certainly not about making every vote a power play or an opportunity to draw lines in the sand. I would like to personally thank Jake and Monica for the professionalism and willingness to seek common ground and to work diligently to support PEM students and staff and to do what's in the best interest of the district. You are to be commended. There is a quote that says, "Excellence starts with you." It doesn't start with the teachers or not even our administrators. It starts with you right here. You make all the decisions. Therefore, I would strongly encourage this board to take a time out and ask yourselves, do we want to support the teaching staff and coaches? And if so, how do we intend to demonstrate that? How do we plan to increase school morale and foster a healthy working relationships with staff? How do we plan on retaining our current staff? Where do we want the district to be in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years down the road? And what can we do now to ensure that those plans come to fruition? Because as it currently stands, you are setting this district up for failure. Other districts around PEM are far more aggressive. Fact, according to the last contract, the beginning teacher salary in this district is $43,328. Using the current tax rates, taking out all deductions, a beginning teacher would make $20,909 a year. That's $1,742 a month to live on.
Rose, that is the end of your 2 minutes. Thank you.
I would have one more statement I would like.
You are not allowed to. You get 2 minutes, just as that is. Thank you. Lori Antosky.
Good evening, teachers. Wonderful to be back here. Hey, my Rose's comments and others that you are undoubtedly set to hear. I have 4 thoughts that I want to share with you that apply to every single person in this room, but they're primarily directed at the board and the administration. First one, about micromanaging, just say no. It's a pattern of manager behavior marked by excessive supervision, overreach, and control of employees' work and processes. Hallmarks include a lack of trust and an overt implication that an employee can't do his or her job. It distinguishes autonomy, impacts creativity, and more often than not leads to long-term anxiety, stress, and depression. It also leads to employees seeking work elsewhere. Good. That'll happen here. Second point, stay in your lane. That means sticking to what you know and what you're good at. Each of you has a role, and knowing what your role is and recognizing it builds trust throughout an organization. You do your jobs, and let them do theirs. When it comes to education, those are the experts. Number 3, good fences make good neighbors. Only in the process of coming together to mend a broken fence is the strength and positivity of a relationship known and improved. Take a step forward, take a step admin, the teachers are there waiting for you. Number 4, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Please think on these things, apply them to yourselves, respond accordingly. In solidarity, teachers.
Hey, Mike Hefner.
Yeah, that's me. Good evening. My name is Michael Hefner, and I'm a teacher, parent, taxpayer, and proud union member in our district. And I will be very quick with my thoughts. Why is the public comment all of a sudden down to 2 minutes? Does the school board not want to hear what the public has to say? Do they not value the public's input? The school board has a history of not responding to emails if they do not fit with their viewpoint. So the public comment is necessary. The public has a right to petition elected officials, and the school board has no right to censor our voices. Where is the transparency the board claims to have? Last board meeting, we had 3 minutes. This week, it's 2. If the board doesn't like what they hear tonight, what will the next meeting's time limit be? Please make sure that you are listening and reflecting on what the public has to say. Thank you for your time.
Angie Oram.
My name is Angie Orman, and I'm here to speak on behalf of my daughter, Tegan Hansen. This is in regard to the coaches committee. She has wrote, Coach Peter was my coach for both basketball and softball for many years. The culture that he has established is one of high expectations for both his students and players. He's very strong-willed and has the most motivation to succeed over anyone I have ever met. His expectations are to come mentally prepared and ready to work. He does not tolerate lack of motivation. Coach Peter demands that when you walk out onto the softball field, you're supposed to run to your position. Practice how you intend to play. He demands respect and will hold you accountable for both your actions and your attitude. Mr. Peter is very committed to the PEM community and its students. He especially has the drive for PEM athletics to succeed and would never turn down someone asking for help to improve their performance, whether you are a starter or a bench player. Mr. Peter plays a huge part in developing my love for softball. I chose to further my softball career and play at the collegiate level. I visited many campuses and met with many coaches. Ultimately, I chose to play college ball with Luther in Decorah, Iowa. The coaching style at Luther is what led me to make my decision, as I could relate to their high-intensity, mentally tough, success-driven, and strong leadership coaching style, as this is what was comparable to the way I was coached by Ben Peters. Overall, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Peter, both as a coach and mentor, and look up to him as a father figure. The amount of time and effort that this man puts into the PEM community and softball program is unbelievable. Together with his knowledge of the game and coaching leading abilities, I think the PEM community would really be missing out on something great if he were to be asked to leave the softball field. I hope that people here understand that he has impacted so many lives both on and off the field. In my support of my efforts to showcase what Mr. Peter has to offer this community, both as a teacher, parent, and coach, I ask fellow past teammates to write pieces on how Mr. Peter has impacted their lives.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sean Colson. I've been teaching second grade here. I've been here 27 years now. My 2 children graduated from PEM, and they're living productive lives doing what they love. I attribute a large portion of my children's success to the excellent education they received from the hard-working and dedicated teaching and coaching staff at PEM. These staff members behind me, aside from the curriculum, taught my children the core values of hard work, perseverance, and compassion. The staff inspired them to pursue their chosen careers and always work for the common good. I tell my class this every day. Work as a team for the good of all. I am hoping that our school board and teaching staff can come together as a team and work together for the common goal of giving the children of PEM a quality education so they too can be proactive, hard-working, and compassionate members of society. A house divided cannot stand.
How are we doing tonight? Tim Boardman, Mayor of Elgin. I'm here on behalf of the City of Elgin. Just like to say I believe in the teachers and the staff that we have today, and I feel like if we don't support them, that it's gonna be we're gonna jeopardize our communities. We have a strong community right now. I think we're known for our schools, our strong school system, and I strongly feel it's gonna not only affect the school system, City of Elgin, City of Millville, City of Plainview, across the board. So I highly suggest that you guys consider supporting our teachers moving forward, so that we can continue with great education. And I'd like to say one more thing, we want golden apples, like Mr. Meyer, right? I mean, that hit the nail on the head right there. Started out, golden apples, right? That's what we want. So don't jeopardize it. Thank you.
Mrs. Jody, they just always be Mrs. Jody.
I know. Even the new job calls me Mrs. Jody. So yes, I'm Mrs. Jody. I taught here for 19 years. I love our community. I love our school, our children, our families, and most of all, I love all these people that I work with. One of the many, or I should say that we've supported each other through lots of challenges in the last years. One is the huge teacher shortage. It's a nationwide shortage. And if there's a teacher shortage, there's a substitute shortage. We're all feeling that every day here at PEM. We're forced to do more with less time, less money, less support. Last year I left because those challenges became more than I could handle. I couldn't deal with it anymore, and I couldn't watch the people that I worked with have to deal with it. I'm so much happier for myself, but I want you to know that I'm here to support those I left behind. And by that I mean everyone, from the children, the families, the staff. It's hard. I have watched this board turn our school into an us against them situation. Don't rub my back. And that's not how a community should be. This is, we're here for our community, and you guys have much bigger worries than micromanaging coaches and staff. Amen. We need to find ways to support and encourage our staff instead of tearing them down. And I agree with Mr. Boardman. Our community is built around our school. Is it our goal to tear that apart too? So if you're not up to the job, then we as a community need to rethink how we voted. There we go.
Initially planned on talking, and then I changed my mind, and then he called my name, so I came up. I've been here for a long time, and I think if you have run a kid through the high school at all, I had your kid. And whether it was coaching or teaching or whatever it was, and I heard someone today talk about the good old boys club. And it is a good old club. It honestly is, because it's a small town. And if I was a young teacher, I wouldn't coach in this district. It's too hard. It's the same people stepping up. When you come to events, it's the same people at the door. It's the same coaches. I had surgery on my back last year because I couldn't feel my feet. But I coached this fall because they needed a coach. Because the kids needed a coach, right? You cannot expect people to do what you want them to do because you think it's right when you do not appreciate at all what they do.
Jen Taylor. I've been a teacher for 27 years, currently a first grade teacher. At the October board meeting, members of the union read a letter to the board expressing our concerns and seeking your collaboration on important matters. Unfortunately, we've not received a response, which has left many of us feeling unheard and disheartened. While we understand that the content of our letter may have been uncomfortable, it is crucial to engage in an open dialogue. Dismissing our concerns without a response undermines the principles of communication and collaboration that are essential for the betterment of our educational community. Hopefully, we can foster an environment where different perspectives are acknowledged and respectfully discussed for the benefit of all. Thank you.
I'm Mike Morath, just a citizen, 8th grade teacher, just joking. We were called up today a few times by individuals with concerns about what's going on up here. We have lived in the community for 40-some years and never once felt a need to have to come up to a school board meeting. I'm one that looks at facts before I speak, and we heard today about concerns that brought up. I haven't researched those, so I'm not going to speak on those today, but I think my wife and I will be sitting in the audience from here on out. I'm here today because of this sports committee, coach committee, whatever you have. 20-some years ago, I was on a committee that brought together most of this stuff. And I was asked to speak today to volunteer my services on that committee to have a wide range of views. And that's why I'm here today. So all the committee minutes today are quite lengthy, except for the coaching one. It doesn't even have the names of the committee members. I probably wouldn't be here today if the members' names were on here. I could have called them personally. So I think whoever's in charge of this needs to be a little more, a citizen can't understand what's going on here. And that's the purpose of minutes, is to help us understand. So with that, I'll let the teacher take over.
Good evening, my name is Bill Schultz. I'm here to speak tonight in full support of Mr. Ben Peter, to inform the public that there are select members of our school board who are using their authority as elected officials to carry out personal agendas and vendettas while putting Ben and his family through tremendous stress, pain, and suffering. Ben Peter has been a dedicated and tireless teacher, coach, and public servant in our school for 23 years. With 23 years leading and building our girls softball program, he is now the longest tenured coach on our staff. He frequently gives of his own time and money to build and maintain our current softball complex. His wife, Jen, teaches at Penn and faithfully serves our communities as a kindergarten teacher for the past 21 years. Ben and Jen live in our communities. They're raising their children here. In addition to being a teaching colleague of Ben for all of his time at EM and PCM, I've had the privilege and honor to coach with him and beside him on both football and softball, where I can attest to his work ethic, dedication, and care for our student athletes. Again, select members of our board have recently and quickly formed a thinly veiled coaching committee made up of 3 board members, our superintendent and high school principal, no athletic director, no community members. This committee has taken on the authority of renewing or non-renewing head coaches, while none of them have ever formally observed or evaluated any of our coaches, ever. Ben Peters is their first target. Who's next? Select board members on this committee ran for their position on a platform of transparency and accountability. The board members on this committee
Hi, my name is Jeff Henry, and I'm continuing on with Bill's letter. I've had all 3 of my daughters that played in Coach Peters in some capacity or another. My oldest 2 played all the way through. I've got a 9th grader that hopefully gets the opportunity as well. Coach Peters has had an extremely positive impact on them, and we appreciate him a lot. And although I didn't write Mr. Schultz's statements, I've read them and attest to every one of them. I'd just like to add that my oldest started playing with Coach Peter when she was in 3rd grade, which is about 2012. I've had a front row seat for almost 15 years. I can assure you, although not perfect, like nobody is perfect, Coach Peter's conduct is not anywhere near the level of treatment he is receiving, not even close. I see the work every day, I've seen the effect on his family, I've seen the sacrifice, and it's not right. I can also attest to the current situation. It doesn't stem from his performance, other than it really goes back to May 9th, 2019 with the lack of playing time that one of the mothers felt slighted for. And that's the truth. Okay? One piece of documentation in your coaching committee corroborates this time frame. Go back and look at it. Continuing on with what he said, board members on this committee, as well as those who voted in favor of it, could benefit the lesson of transparency and accountability from Mr. Peter, who, although not a perfect human being, as none of us are, will always shoot you straight. You may not like what he has to say, but you'll never have to guess where he stands. I will go on record as saying you will not find a more transparent or accountable member of our staff. He has high expectations for our schools, his colleagues, his students, and his athletes. He does not tolerate entitled attitudes and disrespect from young people directed towards adults or their peers in his daily interactions with both a teacher and a coach. You can imagine this may not always make him the most popular from the viewpoint of a teenage student or athlete, or parents getting one side of the story, but thankfully, he understands his job isn't to be popular, a friend, but rather an adult responsible for teaching a variety of life lessons where he succeeds each and every day.
Samantha Kashi, teacher, as well as hopefully a future peer of a PEM student. I would like to speak on behalf of Ben Peter, our varsity softball coach. Having coached with him for the last 8 years, I can honestly say that no one lives, breathes, and cares more about softball in this community more than him. His effort to promote the sport and make it better for players is relentless and exhausting when looking from an outsider's perspective. Running tournaments, getting umpires, volunteering to run pitching practices on Sunday nights, organizing concession stands, as well as field prepping and maintenance. He is constantly working to better the PEM softball program. He is even willing to donate equipment to players who literally don't have a glove or face mask. You will not find many coaches that are more determined, dedicated, and detail-oriented as Coach Peter. And the results are obvious. Softball is one of the most popular sports in the school. We have over 70 players signed up in the last few seasons, which is near the top in all PEM activities. Coach Peter has helped out or coached players from varsity down to 10U at various times in the last 10 years. And what you know, the players keep coming back and love the game. I think it's safe to say that the culture in softball is one of the strongest we have at PEM. I cannot see a future without Coach Peter. His coaches enjoy the camaraderie that he creates among the program, both between coaches and players. This is one of the many reasons coaching softball is so enjoyable. I would like to thank Coach Peter for his countless hours of work and dedication to the PEM softball program over his 23 years of being head coach. We appreciate your time and commitment.
Matt Ada, eighth grade math teacher. I want to speak about the newly formed coaches committee as well, being a coach myself. Since there's it's a new undertaking by the board, it'd be interesting to hear the basis and the reasoning for the first non-renewal. One would think there'd have to be multiple steps taken and many opportunities given before drastic decisions like this would be made to non-renew a coach. It'd be unrealistic to think that that could be done in just a few weeks when this committee was just put together. Since that has no precedent, there's a brand new committee, there's nothing to be set forward, so it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of building of rules and requirements to go through, so we'll be patient with that process with the committees. As for some suggestions, the requirements should be conversations and evaluations with the AD who's in charge of overseeing all coaches. There should be conversations with coaches on the staff of that program. A review of reports from umpires and referees of the sport who rate each coach after each varsity game. Maybe a poll of all the parents in the program, not just select ones with bias who are upset about playing time, because that happens in all sports. But each parent in the program, so all basic voices can be heard. It's a state law signed by Governor Dayton too. In 2013, the coaches cannot be fired by a parent complaint alone, so the parent piece would be interesting info for the committee, but cannot stand alone. And maybe most importantly, conversations with that coach would need to be had and chances to be given to show growth over time. Observations of the coach at practice and during games are a must. Would it ever be credible to evaluate a teacher without going into their classroom? And in what world then would it be credible to evaluate a coach without ever being able to see one of their games? Since there are many coaches at PM, it'll be educational eye opening for the committee to get to see all coaches and then start their evaluations.
Mike Monish, I'm a teacher, parent, coach, and taxpayer in the school district. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly discuss my concerns about the handling of the school board's so-called coaches committee. I find the recent actions of this committee to be out of line, unethical, and possibly even illegal. First of all, how does this committee even exist and why is it allowed to meet? The school board's website did not even list the committee as a committee, nor any members as members of the committee. No public notice was posted on the school's website. Where is a completed, signed, and dated posting of the resolution? Again, not on the school website. There's not a lot of transparency here, which makes me question motives. Second, I would also question the membership of the committee. How does it not include our athletic director who's hired and trained to evaluate coaches? How does it not include a single person that has actually seen the coaching in question? How come it is the only one of the school board's committees, as far as I can tell, that does not include a parent, teacher, community member? How come the committee has a coach from an opposing school on it? How come the committee does include 3 like-minded board members that ran together for school board? All this seems to be a conflict of interest and indicates an agenda. Third, how is the committee and our administration not following legal guidelines set by the state high school league, 400 bylaws, and our own district policies, 403? Can the district really afford legal action? Finally, how can this committee not have even taken the time to interview the teacher in question and hear their side of the story before shoving a resignation in their face? Why is it only focused on athletic coaches and not on advisors or directors? Wouldn't it be better if the committee was there to help and support coaches from parent attacks? It appears that the real point and the purpose of this committee is to target a person and intimidate them. Thank you for your time, and I expect that you'll be looking into this matter.
Hello, I am an 8th grade English teacher. I also am the K-12, the district-wide student management coordinator. I coach the Knowledge Bowl team, and I'm involved in a variety of things. We have 4 children in the district. I have a child in every building right now. We see a lot. We're involved in a lot of things. I am actually going to talk to start with about concerns that I have about substitute teacher shortages. When teachers are absent, many times a para who is already supposed to be helping a small group of special education students gets assigned to cover that entire class. And I think that that's a widely practiced thing in the district. It means that special education students lose the small group instruction and the support pair that is a part of their IEP. I have a daughter on an IEP. I'm not able to follow her around all day to see if she's actually getting what she needs because I'm teaching. But I can only assume that what's happening in one building is happening in all of them. When a classroom has multiple students in it with high needs, high cognitive needs, Kids that maybe can't tie their own shoes when they're in 8th grade or 7th grade. Those kids have a para specifically for them in class. So then that teacher also has to teach the class, the whole class. How are we meeting our IEPs? We're not in that moment. Substitute teachers that I've talked to have told me over and over again that they have no reason to sub at our school. They won't sub here because our pay is horrible. And that is a quick fix. I mean, it is. I know it's dollars, but it's a quick fix. I would hope to see action on that soon so that we can have substitute teachers in our school again. So that we're not just covering for each other and like piecemeal giving our kids the education, that we can grasp at.
Hi, I'm Julie Yost-Minnick. I've been a teacher within the district for almost 31 years. I've had the joy of teaching many of your children, and now have the pleasure of seeing many of my students' children in my classroom as second-generation learners. I've seen education change from having a chalkboard in my classroom to an ICD. I love my job, my students, and the people I work with. With that said, I am deeply concerned this year. A survey was distributed to our union members last week that asked questions related to the current climate at PEM. 87 of our members responded to the survey. I believe the results to be very telling of how the staff is feeling. The first question asked, how often do you feel stressed or overwhelmed by the demands of your teaching responsibilities? Nearly 76% of the staff feel stressed or overwhelmed by the demands of our teaching responsibilities. Do you feel adequately supported by the school board? 93% of the staff feel not at all or nearly not at all supported by the current school board. Do you feel supported by the superintendent? The results were a bit more widespread. However, 75% of the staff voted a 3 or above when it comes to the support they feel from the superintendent. Do you feel adequately supported by the principals? 76% of our staff felt fully or nearly fully supported by the principals in their building. Would you recommend the teaching profession to others? Almost 66% of the staff said no, they wouldn't recommend it, which is sad. How do you feel about the school board coaching committee? Nearly 88% surveyed indicated they absolutely do not support such a committee. How likely are you to stay coaching or start coaching with the coaching committee? With such a committee in place, 75% of the staff indicated they would resign or not coach. How do you feel about having a community school board curriculum committee? Nearly 82% of the staff surveyed does not support a committee. I just have one paragraph. These are all very hard and real issues. I'll let Kate go.
These are very hard. I'm Kate One, administrative team. These are very hard and real issues. I remember growing up and hearing the phrase, our community is only as strong as our school. I believe this is true. Those are Julie's words, but I believe it also. We need to refocus and start working with and together for the sake of our students. Otherwise, I fear we will lose fantastic educators, coaches, and community members. Thank you.
In terms of folks who had their 2 minutes but were unable to finish, a couple of you like that, if you would just see me afterwards, I'd be happy to take what you have and make sure that the rest of the board gets the remainder of your comments. Just want to make sure that I'll offer that up.
Julie, excuse me. I didn't know about the sign-in, but I brought notes. Can I speak?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just want to say your name.
How are you?
Everybody else.
I understand that my questions cannot be addressed in this format, so I will share some thoughts and comments. First, thank you for representing me on this board. I'm a voter, a taxpayer, and a parent of a PDM student. Representation is important to me. I too am a community board member, currently serving on the Plainview City Council. I want to discuss two things that I learned during my experience on the board and that I'm sure that I share with you. And some of the public may not be aware of these things. First, my authority as a board member is limited to that of the collective voting body of the board. Outside of our board meetings, we are individuals with the same rights and authorities of any other community member. As individuals, we cannot give direction to staff or influence any processes, nor should we. We are elected to make decisions as a collective body. What can we do outside the meetings? That leads me to the second thing I've learned. We can tap into our greatest resources for valuable information. From my board experience, that is generally city staff, I believe my best decision-making happens when I first consult those with the training and first-hand experience. I assume that you regularly consult with the district's teachers and professional staff. They are the experts in their field and the greatest assets to this school district. Trust them, value them, use their expertise in your decision-making. I know that you're currently negotiating their contract. Our community is relying on you as our representatives to protect these valuable assets by settling in a manner that shows respect and value for these professionals. Retaining them should be your highest priority. And on a side note, as a licensed teacher working, I'm subbing in another district for $200 tomorrow.
There were two names that were crossed out.
Can you add my name to the list, please?
No.
I thought I signed in. No.
Yeah, you did. You signed
There were
in,
two
but not,
sheets.
everybody had to sign in. Yeah, there were two sheets, sorry.
I was late to the party. Hi, my name is Katie Brown. I am a longtime resident of the community, a parent, a taxpayer, and I have had the privilege of having many of these teachers as my teacher, and now I get to watch them teach my kids. It's been fabulous. It's been an awesome experience, but I'm afraid that we are going to end that cycle if we are not careful. There's already a teacher shortage, and if we don't show our teachers that we care about them and lift up the morale in the school districts, why are they going to stick around? Some of you may not know, but I actually went to school to teach. I taught in a high school setting. I did not have the administrative backing, and I left that field for work. My journey has been fine. I'm now teaching in a professional field of the corporate setting, but as I look at these people behind me, we could lose all of them to the corporate setting if we're not careful. They love what they do. They go every day to work to teach our students. If we don't show them that we value them and we don't lift up the morale in the school district, we're going to lose each and every one of them. And a side note, I have no idea what's going on with the coaching staff, but in 2003, Mr. Peter convinced me to join softball as a junior in high school who has never played softball in their life, because he told me I would be a leader of the team. I did. I got to be part of a team that I never thought I would be. I got to play, which I don't know why, because I was not a good player. But I got to be part of that team, and I got to learn to be a leader in a different form. So please, make sure that we lift up our morale in our schools. If you haven't been to our schools recently, walk through the halls. The teachers give it their all, but you can see in their hearts that there's something missing. And we need to deal with that today. And we need to make sure that we have the substitutes, which I know is on your agenda. And I've already voiced my opinion to all of you that we are underpaying ourselves. And we need to make sure we raise that up so that we can find subs to our teachers' needs.
Well, I'm probably off on a different tangent. I was here to talk today about getting some further clarification about the hazing incident that took place on homecoming. I think it's our right to know what you guys deem the code of conduct violation and what the disciplinary actions are, because they're not going to be deterrent if nobody knows what anything is deemed to be. I am in the minority here, and I do support the board's decision to oversee coaching, as because I think some unethical behavior and blatant favoritism in some of our programs has created students that think criminal action is okay when they don't get their way. Unfortunately, all athletes are not created the same here, and some of us refer to the good old boys club, and it does not include a lot of our students, and I do know a lot of students and parents have complained about that. We did at one time get a formal letter that wanted to clear up the rumors in this incident, and there were lies in the letter. This was not a prank. It was a pre-planned kidnapping and assault of a student. There was injury, and the behaviors it involved were criminal. And the only reason there was a mob is because so many kids in our district chose to be involved. And I don't know how a letter that went out to parents was not considered a cover-up. We only got further communication when somebody went to the press. And we could no longer lie about what had happened in our school. There was supposed to be a third-party person working on this. I don't know if there's verification of this. I don't know when anybody in the school actually talked to law enforcement. So far, we haven't received any type of an apology for punishing all of our kids, because they were all of them had their stuff taken away at homecoming, and none of them were to blame for it, other than a few. We were not apologized as parents for not being informed, and we were not apologized to for covering up the severity of this crime. It's time for the school to admit that it made mistakes, apologize, and enforce punishments.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you all for the public comments and sharing your thoughts with us. Moving on to the agenda, we have information section. There's several items here. We'll start with the principal's report. John.
Yeah, I submitted the report to the board that's on the agenda. Two quick things. One thing I didn't add on there was our conference attendance. We had a 94% conference attendance, which is awesome. Of course, in the K-3, that's always a big thing to get the parents in the seat in front of you, talk about their kids, so we love that connection. And then on the way out, you can see our brand new book vending machine. So that's lit up and ready to see, but that's a big incentive that our staff member, I think the district committee somewhere around here, helped garner some grants for that, and it's here, and so pretty excited to use that pretty soon. So that was my two.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Vanessa. Clark.
Several items I also included. I just want to talk about one. The Math Wizards program at the elementary. We've been running, as I wrote in there, for 30 years. The one negative issue is that we always get it down to 12 students. So that's the only thing we cut, basically, 4A as far as tryouts. Finally this year, Mrs. LeBert taught me summertime classes this year. Then I worked with Mrs. Lund and Mrs. Irons, the two coaches. We, as I wrote in there, are going to try a new method. Every kid that wants to do it in 5th and 6th grade can. They go to all the practices, that's new. We'll add one meet, there's 3 meets with the other schools. The 4th meet at the very end will be at the 4-6 elementary with only PEM students. Currently right now, we had no idea what the numbers would be, but 6th grade is at 23, 5th grade is at 21. And we usually always do 12 and 12. So this is definitely a positive change. Mrs. Lund and Mrs. Irons are working on it as we go along here, so good thing. Oh, the other thing, I'll let Mr. Wald talk about it. We did have our first parent focus advisory thing on Thursday night. 21 parents besides the 3 of us. It was a very positive night about communication, but I'll let Mr. Wald, he can summarize that better than I can.
Thank you. And Nate for Math Wizards.
I've included some numbers on our ag program, very positive things in your board report. I also included our current information on our current sub rates. Right now, the high school, we're covering about 44% of the full day openings right now, less than half. I also included some information about our enrollment numbers. Last week, and actually going back 2 weeks, we spent some time focusing on community, our own community and mental health support and how we can be better for each other. That included work with our student leaders, that included an evening event for parents, and then it included a school-wide event where we watched a documentary, and then our advisors led some discussion on that along with our student leaders. All three of those were very well. They were very positive things, despite it being heavy topics. They're important things that are around, and we need to keep talking about it as a community so that we can help each other. So very positive. Overall, I would like to really thank our student leaders for taking a role in that, being in each of the classrooms and being ready to have challenging conversations. I'd also like to thank Mr. Arsveld and our two counselors especially for making sure all this went off well. The last thing I'd like to talk about was, as Clark said, our parent focus group. We started with sending out a survey of a couple of questions about our communication as a district and as schools through JMC. We got about 230 responses to that, and we used those answers along with the opinions of our about 20 or so parents that joined us on Thursday to get some ideas for moving forward. Overall, I think the thought is that we do the communication piece, we're good at it. We do some things very well. We also have some things that we could really improve on. People seem to really enjoy the paw print as a way to kind of celebrate things that have been going on in the district. They also feel like one of the things we've done a very good job being clear about is our what happens on our weather days, especially as we added e-learning days, and communicating that out beforehand and then also in the moment. A few takeaways that we are going to continue to work on and bring to you and work as a district, making sure that we bring that level of clarity to some of our other tools, specifically in what parents can expect coming from each of our different communication tools, our website, the paw print, JMC, so forth. And then some clarity for our parents on what they can expect coming from teachers and administration. So that was something that came out that we're going to work on. And then the last thing that's not, I think, a surprise to anyone, but our website overall can use some work to do what it needs to do. So.
Thank you very much. Student council report, it looks like Julie is not here. Maintenance report is attached, but I think that okay. The maintenance report is attached. Do you want to summarize that a little bit?
In terms of
the inspection and
excuse me, not going up here. I don't have it open, but I will pull it open. So in terms of, if you scroll down just a little bit more, you'll see there we go, Department of Health. So in terms of Department of Health, we had our normal visit, which we usually have, and I want to share with you as a board. The inspection this year was very stringent, very rigorous, and had a lot of major items cited. And those items included things such as flooring surfaces, ceiling, those types of things, storage units, areas like that. It's going to take a lot of work to come up and meet code in those areas. The difficulty is going to be that even though Fund 1 food service has a fund balance in it, you're not allowed to use those funds, even though they're food service, in the food service area for certain things. I know this doesn't make sense, right? This won't sound logical, but this is the way it works. We can use it to purchase shelving, but you can't do it for electrical or plumbing or flooring or ceiling or those types of things in the kitchen. And it doesn't make sense, but that's the regulations between the federal and the state part. So we've got folks coming in to take a look. Trevor and I actually walked through and took a look at things last week. I'm just sharing that with you so that you know that that's going to take some financial commitment there, and we're going to have to take a look at what we can do, because it's not functional in terms of the folks that are working in the kitchen, especially like at the high school, where literally while you're working, you try to serve beer, the oven behind you, when you open the door, you turn and you hit it and you get burned. It's just not a functioning space as well, because my understanding is I don't know that it's ever changed really since the building was built. And I know some of you on the building committee have then walked through that with me already. We've talked about options. But this inspection report is going to force some other things to be done there. So, unless you have other questions. Well, we could use some LTFM dollars for some of that. It's just a matter of if you're going to dedicate it to that in your 10-year plan, then what are you going to pull those dollars off of? Because you already have dollars already. Roof systems, those things like that, that are rooftop units that are planned. So it's just going to be we're going to have to talk about which ones we want to spend on and how. Because we're going to end up with more requirements there than what we had originally thought. And the fact is, it's a new inspector, so you can say, well, that's just the inspector, but the fact is, it's the inspector. Right? Like, citation is a citation, so you have to work with it. Does that help?
See, Trevor just walked in.
Oh, hi, Trevor.
Darren was just explaining the inspection stuff. Was there anything else?
No, it was unexpected, let's just say that. Even by Tammy standards, as many years she's been here. I don't know if this inspector's having a bad day or what, but she came in, it had to do with the floors, it had to do with the freezers, sealing up the freezers and crevices. The storage rooms of every building had to have drop ceilings, so everything can be washable in there, even though it's all canned goods. It's kind of surprised me because there's no open food in there. It's all canned, sealed goods, but she was on a mission.
She was thorough.
Thank you, Trevor. Community ed report is attached also. Anybody have questions about that? Monthly budget reports.
Your budget report is attached. We are in the process of budget revisions, so that will come to you with the December truth and taxation meeting. We're still wrapping up some final numbers. So this budget report is attached. I can take any questions if you have any. Otherwise, we'll come back to you in December with the budget revisions.
I have a question, Dan. Yeah, of course I do. Capital facilities use 86% already, is that right?
Yeah, the 800 programs. Yeah, we're using assigned dollars for a lot of technology, and we've got some, a lot of the projects are ahead on that. We haven't expended the budget yet, but yes, we also needed to have to go assigned dollars too for some technology upgrades.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions at all? Okay, superintendent's report.
When we look at, excuse me, when we look at enrollment numbers, again, we look at this each month. And this does not include migrant students, just so that you're aware of that as you take a look. And I have on there for you the budget number as well as each month what is included. Our budget number is 1,452 students. We've been below that since the beginning of the year of 1,047 and then 1,444. We're done just a little, there you go. Just a little bit more down if you would, scroll.
One line.
Right, 1,426 students. There we go. So it's significant for us, and I've been asked the question of, what's the explanation? Some of what we have is some students that are moving, just traditionally have moved districts, those types of things. We have some students that are out for health reasons, or maybe getting service in terms of mental health, those types of things. We also have some that are choosing online education, and some of the online education choices are driven as well by mental health in terms of anxiety, stress levels, those types of things as well. We expect that some probably will come back to us as they hopefully heal and get better, depending on what occurs there. And then, so this is the number that our budget is set off of. Again, it's a 1452. So when Jan says we're working on revised budget numbers, that will be part of that to make sure that, find out, double check to make sure is the number accurate or not, and then where does it need to be at, because we need to make sure that we have an idea of where we're going to be at, because obviously this is the revenue driver of the school district with students, so hopefully that helps.
Any questions at all? Committee reports are attached. Is there any other questions about the committee reports? Very good. Mayor board bites was also attached. Any questions on that? Okay. Brings us to our consent agenda. There's some items on there. Ron, your
I'll
motion.
second.
Second by Monica. Any questions at all about the consent agenda? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, governance. A few items here. Mayor, I'll start.
Sure. In terms of personnel, the first one that you have is an extended leave request. I'll speak to it in this way. The most ideal scenario is birth goes well, happy mom, happy family, healthy everywhere, and we're able to find daycare and she can return and continue to teach. That's the most ideal scenario. That's the best for everyone. Not sure whether that will be possible or not. Shortage of daycare is a heck of a pressure for everyone, not just our staff, but people in the community as well. That is the struggle. So the extended leave request is just that. It's a, if daycare is not available, would an extended leave be approved? So obviously, if daycare is not available, the best thing is that you could find daycare and come back next fall, right? I mean, that would be the best if we could retain her as a teacher and as a staff member, obviously would be our best. So what I would suggest is if you feel that you can approve that, you can. Otherwise, I would suggest you just wait and see what the daycare situation gets worked out to be. And if it's found, great, and if not, then you can determine extended leave. But really it's up to you what you would like.
And just to clarify, the maternity leave portion of it,
That's already.
we don't approve that. That's just, that's a given. So this is only for that extended part of it, beyond the 12 weeks.
So I make a motion, we table it.
Conversation about this at all?
I would think it would be a nice gesture to do it. That's just my opinion, it would just be a good,
Peace of mind.
a good peace of mind to it. I know we couldn't wait on it, but I just think with everything going on, it would be nice. That's just my opinion.
Any other thoughts? So we have a motion on the table from Stacy to table this, second by Julie. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Roll call? Roll call. Yeah.
Julie Hurt?
Yes.
Sorry. Stacy Fox?
Yes.
Ron Springer?
Yes.
Julie Bear?
Yes.
Monica? No. Jake?
No.
Roger?
Yes.
You understand, when it comes in, if she can request it, and then we'll approve it.
Right, it still stands.
Her expression has been her intent is to come back.
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate that, and that is the best case.
It's not like, not like,
This is not denying the request. This is case.
But she brought it forward at this point in time, or did she want us to take action on it, or was she like indifferent, like, I don't really care, or?
I'm gonna ask Mike, I'm not an individual conversation, Mike, what would you?
I would say that she's been very upfront about this, which I appreciate as her principal. And I think she hasn't said anything specifically, but I think she likes to get an answer. I mean, the reality is she does not say anything.
Right.
right,
I agree. Can we keep this on the agenda the next time? Okay. Acceptance of donations. We have some wonderful donations that came in this month. Some scoreboards that I get updated in the high school gym. And then the Millville Hunting and Shooting Club gave a donation for the track team. I move to approve. Moved by Monica, second by Julie. Any more discussion about this at all? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Voting.
So this is combined polling places for the county, we'll make sure that they have that, district election, so a resolution, so if you want to open that up, you can see the resolution itself. It being a resolution, we will roll call that.
Moved by Jake, second by Roger. Any further conversation? All those in favor? Roll call vote.
Stacy?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Monica? Yes. Jake?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Julie Hart?
Yes.
Motion passes. Additional volunteer winter coaches. And a motion by Roger to approve the volunteer coaches.
Second.
Second by Monica. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Substitute pay rate.
All right, so you've heard concerns brought forward tonight, as well as what principals and I have shared with you in the past in terms of sub-pay rate. The recommendation is to move the pay rate from the current rate up to $170 a day for teachers, and for pairs up to $14 an hour for pairs. So I think that would put us way more competitive where we are, because we are clearly not competitive at this point in time with folks. So I listed off some references there for districts. It certainly won't get us to the 200 mark, but it gets us definitely closer to where we are. So the other part of that is this would no longer have the requirement of substituting for 19 days and then on your 20th day that increasing. It would just start from that higher rate to begin with. So I think that also would be a helpful piece and a different change. It won't be the full solution to the subbing problem, because there simply aren't enough subs, but it's a way for us to try to address it.
This is separate from the heroin fever.
Yeah, so there's, the recommendation is 170 a day for teachers and for parents up to 14 hours. You can make it one motion if you want to set this up, just say whatever you want this outrage to do. You can make that same motion if you want to put them together.
So, motion by Ron, second by Stacy. Any further conversation? Very good. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. And adding the bilingual teacher position.
And so again, you've heard over the past time, just in terms of challenges that exist with students who come to us who do not speak English. And part of that is that we have services right now in place for some, but they're not sufficient to meet all the student needs. And it's a real challenge for our staff to serve these students properly. They've done a really good job of working to try to do that. Can't begin to express the challenges that exist with that and how well folks have done and how much effort they put in. The reality, though, is there's not enough staff. And so with this recommendation, the idea would be that we would add a bilingual education position, a teaching position. So if you can think of it as just like adding an additional third grade teacher, or an additional science teacher, math teacher, just a normal teacher. So when you think bilingual, sometimes folks might say, well, what is that? And really what that is take someone who doesn't have English as their main language, help them learn not only the language, but also the subject matter. And the real difference there is as an ESL teacher, their real focus is to help them learn English. They're not able to grant credit in subject matter areas. Bilingual, by license, they can do that. So it's quite unique. We're very fortunate that Ms. Simon has a student teacher right now currently. So first of all, thanks for that, because taking on student teachers is extra work and an extra commitment there. But being able to do that brings folks into the school, get a chance to see them, and that person is actually will have this licensure. So no guarantees that she would apply, no guarantee that she would be the candidate selected or anything like that, but it's an opportunity, I think, that really is deserving of student needs and where we sit. So there's a lot more explanation there, but I know you've seen that from me for the past few weeks, and I'll just answer questions if you do. I will also say that the sub rate, and as well as this position, if you approve it this evening, then that, Jan and I will work on what that looks like in a revised budget for December.
The candidate-wise, they could have two candidates, I would say, so there's one.
I would not bet on a very deep candidate pool. But a candidate is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, realistically, right now, that's just how it is. It's hard to find any candidate. I won't guarantee you that we'll even be able to fill it. But if we can, we should.
Motion by Ron to approve, second by Roger. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Board comments. Okay.
I would like to just say to the board that I think that.
Could we speak up?
I think that we as a board have done a huge disservice to our community and students by not addressing collectively the homecoming incident. In my mind, this is all still in limbo. I would recommend, or I would like to see us as a board have a closed meeting so that we can just sit and talk about freely what worked, what didn't work, what are we gonna change, what, if any, I don't know. I would like that opportunity to have that conversation. And then I would like us to be able to go, okay, this is what came out of that meeting, community. This is our new protocol. these are the steps, or that's what I'd like to see. So, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I don't, you know, it would be nice to know what our guidelines are currently, and obviously Mike worked hard on the incident.
Right.
You know, and gave us, you know, our, what we had for guidelines. And if we want to adjust those or have, you know, very public, like this is what's gonna happen if this happens again. And I said I would support that, just we need to have it, we need to have to,
Right.
that's what we're gonna have to do.
That's right, that's right.
Thank you, Julie. Anybody else have board comments at all?
I think it'd be nice if we kind of had a work session at some time. I know we talked a little bit about this. Julie mentioned it too. Just to, I think we have to look at how the district, how we're going to move forward with stuff, because I don't feel we're going to be really, well, I know we don't have the revenue to do the things that we really need to do with the staff, some of the things that need to be done. So I do think we need to have a discussion in that session to look at those issues and how we're going to go about getting funding.
I agree too. And I think we talked about that at the meeting for, everybody was in consensus with that also. My only comments is, I know, and this is directed at the board, just comments in general, the public. You know, I've seen a lot of, and I've had people reach out to me and, you know, supporting the teachers, and absolutely we feel that we're supporting the teachers. I'm sorry if you feel differently. I mean, we obviously are working through some things right now. But I know Amy Jurens, thank you for hosting an after-board meeting night tonight. The plea for the community support goes beyond just the dollars, and I know this. You know, we've heard how the subbing shortage is hitting everybody. I mean, Mom, if you're listening, can you sign up to be a substitute para? I mean, really, in our community, we need people to step up and help out where they can. I mean, obviously, if you're working full-time, you can. But sign up to be a substitute teacher, a para, a bus driver, anything like that, to help to continue our staff and our school here. Volunteer math wizards with this new change, which is awesome. There's no way, I mean, I think Kate and Jillian are amazing people, but I feel like you're probably gonna need a few more hands on that to help out with that, like volunteering in school with the things that are going on. Junior high coaches are always challenging for us to get. These are just some of the needs that we have. And I know I said this, Annie, before, PTA. We talked about this, like what can our parents in our community do? You know, these are just small things. Does that fix the problem? No. But what can we do as a community to continue to help? So that's just my board comments at the end here.
I have another board comment.
Okay.
I want to shout out to Mrs. Tyson and the cast and crew of It's a Parent's Life. That was awesome. I really did that.
Okay. The last item is adjourned. Do we have a motion? Moved by Ron. Second by Julie. Conversation. All those in favor say aye.